Most men don't realize that the decline in libido and the difficulty in achieving firm erections don't happen overnight. Desire gradually fades until one day what once felt natural becomes a challenge. What many people don't know is that there's a simple way to reverse this. An exercise that remained hidden for 30 years and that, in just 2 minutes, can reactivate your sexual power like never before. This method doesn't involve medications, supplements, or any external aids. It works directly at the source of desire, making your own body respond as it did in your youth. Throughout my career as a urologist, I've followed hundreds of cases of men who thought there was no solution to their problem. But when they applied this technique correctly, the results were remarkable. If you want to understand why this exercise works so well and how it can transform your sex life, I'll explain everything to you now. Before continuing, check if you're already subscribed to the channel to keep receiving content about health and sexual education. If this video provided valuable information for you, leave a like so more people can benefit from it. Participate in the comments, type 1 if you like the topic or 0 if you have suggestions for improvement. Your interaction is essential. Many men believe that the solution to recovering libido and achieving stronger erections lies solely in medications or supplements. But what few know is that there is a simple, natural, and highly effective exercise that has been tested for decades and can transform your sex life in just a few days. This exercise has been part of my studies and clinical practice for over 30 years, yet it has never received the attention it truly deserves. Most men seek quick answers without realizing that the brain is the key to sexual desire. Throughout my career, I've observed cases where libido declined not due to physical issues but due to a lack of proper stimulation. That's when I started applying this exercise, and the results were astonishing. Men who thought they had no way out naturally regained their sexual power simply by reprogramming their minds. The secret of this method lies in how we activate erotic imagination. Libido doesn't disappear with age, but it can remain dormant due to a lack of proper stimulation. When the brain receives the right impulse, the response is impressive. Some patients even reported feeling such intense desire that they struggled to control their excitement in the first few days of practice. This effect occurs because the brain plays a central role in activating the sexual response. When properly trained, it can generate physical reactions as intense as any medication, without side effects. This exercise proves that regaining virility doesn't have to be complicated. It's just a matter of providing the right stimulus and allowing your mind to do its job. Do you want to enhance your sex life and strengthen your relationship? In my digital book, Rediscovering Intimacy, Healthy Sexuality After 60, you'll find practical strategies to reignite desire, overcome physical and emotional challenges, and deepen your connection with your partner. Access the link in the pinned comment and see how to transform your love life. Sexual desire doesn't disappear over time, but it can weaken when the brain stops receiving the right stimuli. Over the years, it gets used to responding to specific triggers, but if those triggers diminish or are replaced by habits that don't encourage excitement, libido starts to decline. This happens gradually and silently until desire no longer responds the same way. Libido works like a battery that needs to be regularly recharged, and the energy source comes from the right stimuli. In the past, this happened spontaneously through flirting, anticipation, and real interactions. But today, excessive screen exposure and reliance on ready-made content like pornography make the brain complacent. Without needing to create or imagine, it reduces its response to desire. Another factor influencing this decline is the reduction of dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for motivation and pleasure. When dopamine levels are low, everything seems less interesting, including sex. This creates a negative cycle. Less desire leads to less stimulation, further weakening libido. This process can be reversed with the right and consistent stimuli. Erotic imagination is one of the most effective ways to reactivate libido because it puts the brain back in control of desire and arousal. The brain is the main driver of sexual desire, and the way it is stimulated makes all the difference in performance and erection quality. The morning imagination exercise is a simple yet highly effective technique that activates the natural mechanisms of libido and reignites sexual desire without needing any external resources. practice consists of dedicating 2 minutes right after waking up to imagining exciting situations. But not randomly. The idea is to create detailed scenes, recall real memories, or build fantasies, focusing solely on arousal. This strengthens the connection between the mind and body, enhancing the response to desire. Key is consistency and the intensity of the imagination. Upon waking up, the brain is in a state called theta, which facilitates the absorption of stimuli and the reprogramming of mental patterns. This is the ideal time to directly influence the system responsible for libido, generating a cumulative effect that can be felt within the first few days. The more emotional involvement in the imagined scene, the greater the activation of neurotransmitters linked to pleasure. The most important thing is to avoid distractions. During these 2 minutes, the focus should be entirely on the chosen fantasy. The more vivid the scene, the greater the impact on desire and erection quality throughout the day. Many men try to regain their libido but make a mistake that completely sabotages the process: the lack of patience and consistency. Sexual desire doesn't work like a switch that turns on and off instantly. It requires frequent stimuli to be strengthened. However, most people expect immediate results, and when they don't see quick changes, they give up before their body and mind can react. Another common mistake is the lack of real engagement in the stimulus. Simply spending 2 minutes trying to imagine something erotic isn't enough if the mind isn't genuinely immersed in the scene. Superficiality in practice weakens the effectiveness of the exercise. The brain needs to feel like it is truly experiencing that moment with details, sensations, and emotions so that the sexual response is intensely activated. Additionally, many end up mixing this practice with the habit of immediate masturbation. This can interfere with the process because the goal of the exercise is not just to generate momentary arousal but to strengthen the natural mechanisms of libido. The idea is to train the brain to cultivate desire independently, without relying on constant physical stimulation. Those who understand this principle and apply the exercise correctly notice that, within a few days, their sexual response becomes stronger and more natural, without the need to rely on external triggers to feel desire. The effects of this exercise can be felt as early as the first day, but the intensity varies from person to person. In the initial attempts, many men notice a subtle change: a different energy throughout the day, more stimulating thoughts, and even a slight improvement in their response to desire. This happens because the brain begins to reactivate arousal circuits that had weakened. After a few days of continuous practice, the changes become more evident. Libido starts to emerge spontaneously, without depending on external stimuli. Small triggers throughout the day once again spark desire, something that previously seemed lost. Additionally, the impact on confidence is immediate. Feeling more sexually active directly affects overall well-being, energy levels, and even posture in daily interactions. In the first week, many men report a significant increase in the firmness and frequency of their erections. This occurs because imagination activates the production of neurotransmitters essential for the sexual response. Since the mind is now more conditioned to generate arousal naturally, the body responds more efficiently. Consistency is the key to maintaining these benefits. The more disciplined the practice, the deeper and longer-lasting the results. This is not a temporary trick, but a method to re-educate the mind and regain potency in a natural and progressive way. Libido is not a fixed trait determined solely by hormones or age. It is highly influenced by lifestyle, environment, and most importantly, the way the brain processes sexual stimuli. Many men believe that desire arises spontaneously or depends exclusively on the presence of a partner. In reality, libido works like a muscle. The more it is trained, the stronger and more responsive it becomes. One of the most impactful factors on sexual desire is how the brain interprets stimuli over time. Excessive exposure to instant arousal content can weaken the natural libido response, making it dependent on artificial stimulation. This reduces the ability to feel desire in real and natural situations, making arousal more difficult. On the other hand, when the brain is trained to create its own stimuli, the response to pleasure becomes more intense and long-lasting. Another rarely discussed aspect is the influence of emotional state. Stress, anxiety, and mental fatigue drain the body's energy and drastically reduce the motivation for sex. That's why taking care of mental health and maintaining habits that stimulate imagination are essential strategies for keeping libido active and healthy. Key to a fulfilling sex life is not just in the body but in how the mind is trained to awaken and sustain desire. If you apply this exercise consistently, your libido can change completely in just a few days. As we've seen, imagination has a direct impact on sexual response, and stimulating the brain in the right way can lead to impressive results. Many men spend years searching for external solutions without realizing that the real secret lies within their own bodies. Now tell me, had you ever heard about the impact of your mental state upon waking on your libido? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if this video helped you, leave a like. It helps the content reach more people and supports even more men in regaining their sexual power. On this channel, you'll find other videos covering techniques and habits to improve sexual performance and health. Watch now and discover more strategies to enhance your results. And if you're not subscribed yet, take the opportunity to do so and activate notifications to keep receiving exclusive content. See you in the next video.